What's good, y'all? Wanted to drop a video for y'all real quick before I end my night out. I wanted to talk about how being solid for me has been one of my biggest flexes. Um, when you focus on staying solid to who you truly are, you'll come across a lot of instances in life that will make you question whether or not you should stay solid. Because it's a lot of people out here who they tend to switch up. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times they tend to do that switch up because they're too worried about what other people think. They're too worried about what other people may say and, all that. And for a minute, that was, one of my battles because I've always been the type of person like, people embrace me, my entire life. And I feel like it's because I've been super accepting of things. I'm not one to judge like that. Um, and I prefer you to, if you're gonna be in my presence or, be my friend or whatever the case may be, I prefer you to be your true self. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody around me who being fake about anything. Like I don't care how bad it may be, shit. But that's just how I move. And so being solid as I got older, once I've learned the importance of staying solid, it went from me feeling like it was a curse to me understanding how much of a blessing it is. Being solid is everything, especially when it comes to you manifesting and, building real relationships with people, whether it's romantic or a friendship or whatever. Like, you have to be solid. It's important and it's imperative for you to stay solid. And like I said, you'll run across a lot of instances in your life that will make you question whether or not you should stay solid. Because honestly, if you ain't out here trying to do what everybody else is doing, it's certain groups and shit, and certain people won't fuck with you and all that, and you have to overcome that barrier. You got to get to a point where you don't give a fuck. Like, this is who I am. You know what I mean? And if you can't accept that, then oh well. But you will understand and realize how hard it is to pretend. And in due time, timing is what reveals who the fuck is being real or not, who the fuck is really being solid or not. It's so much easier to be yourself compared to you trying to pretend. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you an ain't shit ass person, like, even if you're no good of a person, even if you out here moving foul or out here moving grimy, it's so much easier for you to just be that than it is for you to pretend like you're not. And when you run into somebody like me, then I'm going to figure you out anyway. Because I read deeper than surface level. You know what I'm saying? I'm always deeper than the surface. But you have to learn to stay solid. Embrace that shit. And understand that when you stay solid, one of the greatest importance of being solid and staying solid is understanding that all the people that ain't supposed to be in your life, they gonna end up falling off. And we all went through a time in our lives where we have this tight hold on people. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that relationships with people ain't important. Your friendships with people ain't important. The relationship you have with your family isn't important. But what I'm saying is, it's not healthy to have this tight grip on motherfuckers to the point where you're afraid to let them go if need be. Because everybody ain't meant to be around. Everybody can't go with you. And it's because of our genuine hearts. It's because of, us being solid to those people, to our friendships and to our romantic relationships and to our family. It's that thing that keeps us bound to those people, even if they don't mean us any good. You see what I'm saying? Once you learn this lesson, and motherfuckers start falling off, you no longer get in your feelings. It may come off as a shock to you, depending on who it is that fell off. But whole time, once you really understand how an imperative it is for you to stay solid, because it's going to help you in alignment with yourself and with what's for you. Once you understand that, when people fall off, you're going to be like, you know what I'm saying? It must be something about them that I didn't see. It must be conversations that they done had behind my back that I didn't hear. That's how you got to look at that shit. But when you haven't learned the lesson of staying solid to yourself, being a solid person, just all across the board, then it's going to hurt you. Every time somebody walk away, it's going to hurt you. Every time somebody feel like they shouldn't be your friend no more, somebody they no longer want the relationship that y'all have, or your family being fake as fuck, like that, it's going to hurt you. But once you learn this shit that I'm talking about now, you're going to be like, I wish you the best. Ain't no love lost. I don't hate you or nothing like that. I guess the season that I had with you in my life is over. Because that's what it is. Because there's something about you that I'm not seeing, that God in the universe is seeing. So what happens is, it's your heart that's going to be hardened. Because I ain't seeing it. You know what I'm saying? And when your heart is hardened, then you'll start acting funny. And then, motherfuckers like, but it ain't even really them. It's because when you love somebody and when you care for somebody and you really a friend and, you staying true to whatever the relationship it may be, sometimes we are blinded by doing our part in it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you do get blinded because you're so focused on being that good friend or being that good sister or being that best romantic partner you can be. And sometimes you don't see the bullshit. And a lot of times those people hope that you don't see the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But it's something about, there's a peace that happens. It's a peace that comes about when you learn to stay solid. And I'm not saying it's easy. Because there's going to be plenty of times in your life where you're going to be like, fuck the world, fuck them, fuck that, and you can't live like that. You just can't. Not when you're trying to manifest certain things. Not when you want God in the universe to bless you with certain things. You have to stay solid. You just got to learn how to roll with the punches. I'm telling you, I've been through this shit. It has been, for me personally, one of my toughest battles in life. It's a constant battle. It's like, should I pretend to be like them or should I just stay true to myself? And a lot of times when you decide to stay true to yourself, there's a lot of people out there that's not going to accept you. There's people out there that ain't going to want to be your friend. People out there that's not going to want to be in a relationship with you. That's just the way of the world. And you have to understand, you got to learn to be okay with that. That's a blessing in disguise. You just in your feelings at the moment. You know what I'm saying? You caught up in that shit. And so your feelings hurt. But there's a peace that comes about when you learn to stay solid anyway. Despite all of that shit. And you have to develop this, this attitude like you don't give a fuck. It's not saying, don't give a fuck as if you're not caring. But I can no longer worry about certain things that don't serve me. Me worrying about whether or not you want to be in my life, that doesn't really serve me. You know what I'm saying? It drains me. Me trying to hold on to a friendship that's no longer really a friendship, is one-sided, it no longer serves me. You understand what I'm saying? Then you got people out there that sit there and try to, make you worry about things or make you try to instill and put in your head that you should be worried about some shit that really, because of my purpose, that ain't really for me to worry about. It doesn't serve my purpose. And it's taken away from the energy I need to have or need to be in order to serve my purpose. You see what I'm saying? You got to stay firm in your beliefs, and you got to stay firm in you being solid. You're going to run across several uncomfortable times and situations. Your feelings may be hurt. We have feelings. We human. But you have to understand that staying solid is one of the best decisions you can ever make in your life. It's one of your biggest flexes. Because a lot of people can't do it. A lot of people out here, they fold under pressure. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people too worried about what other people think and how they feel. And so they just refuse to walk away from being true to themselves. You have to learn to be true to yourself. Because that's, that's just how it is. Like universal law. Like you have to stay true to yourself. If you want to attract certain things, in your life and be successful in certain ways, you have to be true to yourself. Because on your journey and being true to yourself, you're going to go through things. It's going to test you. And if you out here trying to be something other than who you are, then you're going to be out here all confused. And then you're going to take real super offense to the test and stuff that the universe is going to throw your way. To test your character, to test how strong you really are. But being true to yourself and being solid, it prepares you in a way to go through that shit. You know what I'm saying? And you have to know within yourself. Yes, it feels good to get some type of validation at times, and you want some type of acknowledgement. That does feel good. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to get you to understand is you got to know within yourself that you are perfect the way you are. You're great, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, you're handsome. You got to know that. You got to know you the shit. Despite what everybody else around you is doing, you know what I'm saying? Even though if you being solid is what's the norm, you got to understand that that's okay. You're exactly where you need to be. It's deeper than that. At the end of the day, it's deeper than being validated and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because your purpose is greater than what people think. Your purpose is greater than you trying to fit in. That shit don't matter at the end of the day. No, none of that shit matter at the end of the day. It just feels good. You know what I'm saying? And that's understandable. But in reality, it don't matter. You got to know that shit for yourself. I'm telling you, I had to go through the same thing. It was a battle. Because a lot of who I am isn't necessarily the norm. You know what I'm saying? But I had to learn to embrace that shit, because the fact that I embraced it, that's what helps me stand out from a lot of people. And because I done worked on this for so many years, you can't really tell me shit. You just can't. Like, the only time some shit can really matter is if you care. To be honest. And I don't care. Like, I accept people for who they are. I accept people for where they may be in their life, whether they're completely where they need to be or they're not. I'm not all the way where I need to be. But shit, I put in the work. That's all that matters to me. Is me making sure I get up every day and doing what it is that I have to do, being disciplined, staying motivated as much as I can, and putting in my best effort. Because there's plenty of days where we wake up and we don't feel like doing shit. Plenty of days you wake up and you don't feel like being an adult. You don't feel like going to work and, taking care of business. Like, it's plenty of those days. There's more of those days than it is you willing to get up and do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? So, I just wanted to let y'all know that it's so important for y'all to stay solid. Even if it's unusual. Even if it's out of the norm. Even if it's unpopular. Even if it puts you in a position where you feel like you are alone. You need to understand that you are exactly where you need to be. If you can truly stay solid to yourself, You are exactly where you need to be in your life. You hear me? Don't let nobody else tell you different. Don't do it. A lot of times in life when we're supposed to be doing something, sometimes you'll have a blueprint and it'll tell you the end result, and sometimes it doesn't. A lot of times it doesn't. It doesn't. In my opinion, it don't. But I learned the importance of just getting up and just doing it anyway. Just do it anyway, even when you don't see it. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta get up and do it. Be true to yourself. Handle your business. Do what you gotta do for you. Stop worrying about what other people think and feel. I feel lately like a lot of times it's too many people out here putting too much emphasis on relationships, even like if you got some real niggas in your corner, like that's really your friend, and you know they're there when you call them, and you know y'all there for each other. If you really in a relationship where that person love and care for you, and that's great. But don't be out here stressing yourself out over things that's for real outside of your purpose. Because in reality, those are just bonuses. That type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the bonus, to have some real friends and a good relationship and, you know, stuff like that. But even still, if you don't stay solid within yourself and do what you got to do for yourself and put in the work on you to become your greatest self, you ain't going to be no good for those friends or for your relationship. And on top of that, if you don't learn to stay solid or be solid with yourself, you ain't going to really attract the right friends or the right relationship for you. Because you out here putting on this facade. It's not really you. You know what I'm saying? So you gonna fuck around and attract some shit that's not even for you. And then by the time you realize that, it's too late. You know, damage done been done. You know what I'm saying? You out here heartbroken, or you out here feeling betrayed because the people you thought was your friends turned out they not really your friends. But if you want to keep it 100, if shit end up being like that, it's because they realized you was put on a facade anyway. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's also important to stay solid. That's why it's important to stay solid, to be 100 as much as you can be. You are perfect the way you are. You are exactly where you need to be. I don't care who's ahead of you. I don't care if a person got more money than you or if you driving a bucket. You know what I'm saying? As long as you stay solid and as long as you put in the work and on yourself, you're going to get all those things and then some. Because like I said in another video, what's for you is for you. Can't nobody else take it away. But what can happen is you hindering it. You're going to hinder the process of it even coming into your life because you're feeling to be solid. Embrace that shit.